I separated Lance and Gracious. Because I felt Gracious failed, I was happy being Lance.
People would be saying, how can they support the channel? Chiso, by Chiso. I've got tops, I've got hoodies, I've got the Dragon Ball Z tees, like the Pain and Full Star tees. You lot can support, buy some of the merch. I'll be able to churn out more content. This one I'm just waiting by myself for the moment, and I'll bring out more colours. Please support.
New episode out now. We got Lance, Gracious K, got Gable Sion. Please, we got half the tickets gone for the live pod down here. Tickets only £10. You get your first double free with that. That's an £11 drink. So yeah, please support the boys. Come down. Just catch some joke, have some laughs. The man are going to be here. Gracious going to be here. Marv's going to be here. The full team is going to be here. Stay tuned.
I just heard Tina Turner's passed away, man. Yeah, I think she's passed away. I think it was 83.
R.I.P. Tina Turner.
R.I.P.
Does it state how?
No, she said that she was at home in Switzerland.
Switzerland?
Yeah, and that she's basically
Right, is that where she lived?
well, apparently.
Right.
Imagine that. If you're at home amongst loved ones and you know what I mean, you're comfortable.
Yes, so Turner has suffered ill health in the recent years, being diagnosed with intestinal cancer in 2016 and having a kidney transplant in 2017.
Sad.
Yeah, that's
a lot,
sad, man. That is
R.I.P.,
sad, man.
boy.
Rest in peace. She was a big. I think she was probably one of the biggest black female acts that we kind of knew growing up. I can't think of anyone in our era that when we was growing up at that age who was bigger than her. She broke for a lot of doors.
What's Diana Ross? Is that in that era?
Possibly, I think, yeah, probably in
similar.
her era as well. To be fair, yeah.
Who would you say is deaf, like a celebrity that's had an impact on you? Like who has put you in shock, like what you've heard?
Do you know what? When I heard Jamie Foxx was in hospital, or was in a bad way, that really that was the first time that I would say that I've kind of felt a celebrity death. Usually when someone, not death, sorry, he hasn't passed away, sorry. When someone is in a bad way, usually when celebrities have passed away, I don't bear any mind to it because I don't know them. So when someone, like when Michael Jackson passed and people was in a frenzy, I was just like,
That one done me, you know.
serious?
I think Michael Jackson done me, you know. No, because I had tickets. Like me and my brethren had
Which
tickets.
one- which one-
like
to the
50
to the
50
O2.
days?
Yeah, to the O2.
Which one of the 90 shows were you going to?
I think I was going to the first.
Oh, okay.
Like I think that one. I think maybe because of what Michael Jackson represented for a lot of like young kids, and you know, trying to reference the dancers and do all this stuff. I think that's where it kind of it hit me. But I think maybe Michael.
Did you cry?
Nah, I don't think I've cried for any.
Did you get a refund?
I think I have to ask X. He dealt with the tickets. I'm not sure what happened. To be fair, I think something would have happened. Hopefully, something would have happened.
Yeah.
But I think
When you say MJ hit you, just what was the feeling that you had? Because sometimes I'm not saying you was performative.
Bro, I swear
sometimes I
down.
think it was performative when people are like, "Oh my God, so and so does. I can't breathe."
no, I think no.
I'm
Like,
like,
I could definitely
breathe.
breathe. I didn't need that's my tongue. I think it was swear down. MJ's dead. Like
Yeah.
I think it was that. Like I think there's only been a couple swear downs. Like Michael Jackson. I think I was old enough to understand Princess Diana. Like
Okay.
in terms of like, wow, this is a big thing. Like all the news. Aaliyah's one as well. When you kind of got the breaking news at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And it kind of said, yeah, Aaliyah's passed away in a plane crash. They're looking for survivors and whatnot. Other than that, I don't really think anyone.
What about you, Chiz? What celebrity death is?
When I was younger, the big ones was obviously Pac and Big that hit everyone. But of recent, I'll say Nipsey, you know, because I could remember exactly where I was. I was on Old Kent Road in my car, sitting outside. Literally, we just finished Lock Sundays, and I'm in my car, like I'm on the phone, just scrolling through, and I've looked and I've seen. I said, huh? Then I remember I wound down my window. I said, oh, Marv, wind down your window. I was like, right, Nipsey's dead, you know. And he's like, right, swear down. And I was like, yeah. And I was just like in shock because obviously, like I've always kind of like fucked with Nipsey. Like I like his music. I like, you know what I mean.
His business
I
acumen.
like his I liked his style outside of music and the way he moved. You could just tell that he's a people's person. You know them ones, and like he was literally 2 days older than me, so we're the same year. Yeah, a couple of days older than me. It's like Nipsey then Fogger than my birthday.
So,
back to
so when
back.
we say you felt it or it affected you, obviously you've never met Nipsey, and I don't think you need to meet someone to feel a connection with them.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that? Yeah.
You don't, but you know what it is? Is his energy and aura.
Yes,
you could
connect
pick,
with him.
you could pick it from the way he moved around. Like you could just tell.
Because what I find sometimes when someone passes away and all of a sudden people start posting pictures and their videos and music, people are like, oh, you wasn't posting Nipsey's music before. How come you're posting it now all of a sudden? Do you get what people mean when they say that, or they're just being silly?
No, I get, because even now, fast forward like a few years later, like what
you can say, Lance?
like fast forward a few years later, I don't hear some people who were like, oh, nip. I don't hear them ever putting their stories.
But I feel like you don't need to. Like, they're moving like you need to get him tattooed on you. Like, at the end of the day, just let people grieve how they grieve, or let people be shocked or affected how they are. Because there's many a people who, if they was to pass away, it's like, wow. Like, Pop Smoke didn't have a hefty catalogue.
But that hit a lot of people.
It was sad, didn't it? It was like, right, as a young youth, how he got killed.
You just wanted to see him win.
Yeah, like how he got killed, you know, the exposure of the, you know,
Address.
his location and the address. And, you know, now we hear the story of
PNB Rock.
Like, it's like, it's a shame.
I think with Pop Smoke, what upset me with that was the fact that he was just about to peak. And I think what upset me with it was that he was just at his altitude, just about to bust, just about to get there, and then he gets taken out. And I think
on a different level now.
I think that's what upset me about it. But I don't think I've actually sat down and slowed down in a day. Because when people say, "Oh, it really hit me," it's really, and I say, when you say it's hit you, have you sat down that day and stopped everything you're doing to grieve? Like, do you actually grieve when someone and a celebrity passes? That's what.
No, I don't think it's ever a grieve, but I think Nipsey, because I was a fan of him actually, that was that's deep, man. Like, that was one of the few that kind of just made me be like, man. Like,
even with Nipsey, I don't think he even got to even hit his peak, because I feel
he was on the verge of his
I feel like his peak would have been not in music only. I feel like he would have been in that. You could tell like he started to become a fashion boy. Like the way he dresses, you know what I mean?
Yeah, remember he had this thing where it showed all his portfolio, and then what it would have done, it would have like made him be 200 million up.
Okay.
So you could
see the progression year by year, you know what I mean? So
but it's funny, it's not funny, but it's crazy that how when you talk about hip hop and rap music, they say that dead rappers get a better promotion. And it's almost as if, like, you know, when someone does pass away, I've made a habit of stop doing it, but what I used to do was when someone passes away, I'd go onto iTunes, and then you would see where their album was, or their music was literally at the point of passing, and then you go back maybe a few hours later, all of a sudden they're like at number 1 or number 2. And it's almost like we now promote and push this person once they've passed, but when they're alive, not saying people didn't really check for them, but...
I don't, you see what? I've changed my thinking on that, because I don't think it's promotion. I think we're going to see their story. And obviously what that is doing is pushing them. So realistically, I've never heard of Nipsey Hussle, and he's now passed, and everyone's talking about this guy. So I'm going to go listen to the music, and that's a stream.
Okay.
And then that being a stream, it's going to push him higher. So if the whole world has heard he's died, and the whole world is like, rah, who's this man?
Yeah.
That's what it is. I don't think it's now he's going to be this, you know, global phenomenon because we want to push him and make sure he goes number 1 so his family eats. I don't think people are that smart. I genuinely think it's just a domino effect.
Is it people just being inquisitive?
Yeah, it's that domino effect of people just pre-ing the music.
Pop Smoke still got 25 million monthly listeners.
Wow.
It's because was he signed to a label? I'm sure he was signed to a label.
But remember the album? The last album came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, but what's it? They brought 50 Cent in to basically finish it off.
Yeah.
And they rinsed it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
But 2 albums.
I don't know.
But that's
50 finished the first one.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so whatever, there was one with like a black rose or something on it.
No, he finished the first one, not the second one.
What don't you agree with?
Just him passing, and I think I don't know whether he was signed and all the details of it, but I'm pretty sure that whoever he was working with, they got in like 50 Cent to finish producing the last one.
Yeah, they finished the first one.
Yeah, but then I just don't agree with the label making money off him after he's dead. I don't agree with that. It bothers me. I understand the investment.
Who does the money go to?
Nipsey Hussle, in his case, I think he owned his royalties or his IP or whatever it was, and the royalties go to his kids and his missus and that, which is cool. Okay. So in that way, you could look at it and be like, okay, cool. All these people going to look at his music after he's dead. At least the money's going to.
But what if I need to recoup? And please don't see this as a bad guy as a villain.
That's the business side of it.
I don't want to be bad guy as a villain, but let's say, for instance, there is a contract, and in the contract it states that he's meant to do 2 albums.
Yeah.
And let's say he's got 14 tracks in the studio, all recorded and pressed, and everything's been mastered and whatever.
Yep.
Is it wrong for them to put the album out to recoup?
I don't disagree with it. From a business side of things, you need to recoup. Like you've made an investment, you need to get your money back. But I just feel like morally it's wrong. But whenever these things kind of come to pass, the label just looks at you as you're whatever.
Because even with Jamie Foxx, there was I don't know if it's true or not, but when Jamie Foxx was in hospital, I think he was acting in some kind of film or something that's meant to come out.
They replaced him and they finished
and
it.
Basically they replaced him to finish it off with a stunt double or something. People were upset, and I was like, okay.
The show goes on, even if you're Jamie Foxx. The show goes on. There's bigger.
You don't want the show to go on.
I'll tell you.
But that's unfortunate. But this is life, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think. I think
it's business.
I don't think people understand. Like, you can go to work every day, and how many hours a week?
You're just a number,
and you get sick, and you whatever they just remove you and replace you.
And,
You're just a number.
And that's the problem, is that you can be replaced. And I know when I said it to one person in a workplace once, they got upset with me, and I said, no, I can be replaced too.
Because it's insensitive.
It's life.
No, but it's insensitive. Like, what you need to understand is how you approach people. Like, I feel like nobody wants to feel like they're expendable.
But they are, though.
Yeah, but
if you really think about it.
But nobody wants to feel like it.
Yeah,
but that's what we
the
are.
world's not based on feelings, though. That's the problem.
Okay, see, humans.
But your girlfriend is expendable. Your
Yes,
boyfriend's expendable.
everybody
But nobody wants to feel like it, because what it sounds like is, so why am I
It's
here?
cynical. It's very cynical.
You're making
it's very
it
black and white.
It's almost as if you can chuck me away tomorrow.
But you have to think of it like even the way the world is going with most jobs now, where like now you've got like example trains. You got stuff like the DLR. That's where it's self-driving. So you're having all the time government going back and forth with train drivers on thingy strikes and all of that. I won't be shocked whether in the next 3 years all the trains are automated.
But I think the problem with that is, and I was having this argument with someone the other day, is that when I said to them that human beings are commodity, they got upset. And they was like, what do you mean? I goes, we are cattle. Unfortunately, in this world, like, the more people you have working for you, the more herd you have, the more money you make.
Yeah, the more manpower. So slavery
unfortunately, the biggest problem we've got now is that we don't realise what factories and machinery has done to human labour.
Yeah.
The more inventions we have to make life more easier for us, the less jobs are. For instance, you look at the self-checkouts that you've got now in Tesco's. You've got a self-checkout with 14 pods that you can use. Back in the day, that would have been 14 conveyor belts with 14 people being served. Yeah. Now you've got one person standing in there monitoring it for 14 people.
And it's using
You've
less
now
space.
lost labour. Yeah.
And it's using less space on the shop floor.
In the quest of convenience, it's removed a lot of,
Yes.
A lot of jobs.
A lot of jobs, and that's the problem.
So now think about it, if there's like, let's say like, there's like 300 Tesco's in the whole of England. That's how many thousand jobs gone?
Yeah, but that's the thing with convenience, and I don't know whether I sound like a bad person saying that. You're going to have to make sure you find yourself in an industry or some kind of field where you technically can't be replaced, because human beings now, unfortunately, are being replaced. And once this AI kicks in very soon, people are going to be in trouble.
Even in the music industry, like if you look at it, the whole concept of songwriters being weary because AI will generate
tracks faster.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
give you sample tracks.
If it generates 10 tracks in an hour.
Yeah.
Like you see the Drake thingy ones the other day, and what other artists that they were generating, a rap artist. The thing is, rap artists would be pissed because obviously they like to write their own things. But R&B artists now, if you had like a sample track that flowed in your style, you're like, right, I could do the cover of that now.
Yeah.
Like if you go to particular writing camps, oh, is that mine?
No, that's mine.
If you go to particular writing camps, it could be like a 2-day writing camp, and obviously people are trying to express that you cannot remove human emotion, like replacing. It's almost like being in the workforce. We used to go in 5 days a week. Now, maybe 2 days a week minimum, and they're saying that they've lost camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Of that concept of everyone being in and it's like, yeah, we work together, we do a work social, we do this, we do that. They've lost that because even on Teams, someone's showering, someone's sleeping with their girl, someone's doing this one. You understand what I'm saying?
But I think from a business point of view, isn't the whole point to try and this is the problem with, well, I'm not going to say the problem with capitalism, but the whole point is to try and save money. So for instance, people have realised that you no longer need to have offices because what the pandemic...
You see the only reason why there's still offices, because some people are stuck on long leases.
Long leases, that's technically it. Because people realise in the pandemic that you don't actually need an office. For instance, you can actually just give someone a laptop, give them the internet, and they can do their work from home, technically. Of course. Because what an office building will cost you in money, someone could just be in their yard where they pay their rent for, and you're sorted in the same way. Go on,
but
say something.
The office, I think, what would people are starting to get to a point where they like working from home, but it's jarring working from home.
Imagine this: I used to train a few people who their workplaces are put them at home, like literally 4 days of the week. They only have to be in the office one. Some people 5 days a week, and what they tend to find out is they become more productive, because like how you mentioned about camaraderie and all them things in offices. What tends to happen is, let's say, like if us three was working together, we're in office for 9 hours. Come on, how many hours of work are we gonna do when we're next to each other? We're gonna do like 4 hours, and 5 hours is gonna be them cracking joke about football, Instagram, like social media in general.
So we end up,
we end up losing time. But what's happened is now these businesses have realized that when them at home, they're just going boom, 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 boom. They're trying to do more work. But what's happening is some of them start complaining, saying what they've realized is their bosses are giving them more tasks to do because they're knocking through it faster. So I said to them, you ain't smart. Like, if you're working from home,
just ride it.
You ride it, because there's no one watching you now. You just need to just move at a pace.
Sometimes like jail though.
As in literally just everything's in one place.
Yeah, like I felt like for me, like I started having to navigate in different spaces in the house.
Yeah.
Because it literally felt like I was in jail a bit. Because at first it's almost like that concept of lockdown. In the first quarter of lockdown, let's just say, it was like, gassed. What was we on? Clubhouse, doing all this stuff. Then the next quarter was like, like Professor Lance, I'm doing all these courses. That was the next quarter. Then it was like the radio with recess and all that kind of stuff. And then the third quarter was kind of like, we done this now. Like, I started going for runs and stuff like that. We started going to the park.
Did you find lockdown hard?
As in, no, because remember I was doing the van driving. So remember I was
So
out.
you was out,
I was
innit? Yeah,
out
you was
every
right.
single day.
You was
I
right.
up and down. So
I spent most of that second one in my house, because
I didn't find it hard at all.
I was training people most of the time. But I don't think I found it hard, because
You're
you wasn't isolated though. That's
I wasn't
why.
isolated.
But you're kind of-
People training in your garden.
Yeah, people training in my garden. Not even only that, I feel
Do you think
like
you're a loner? Do you think you're a loner?
Yeah.
So that's why it didn't bother
So
you.
it didn't bother me, especially first lockdown, where when people was moaning about certain things, I was just like, I'm going for like long ass
Would you say you was more productive working at home, or would you say you're more productive in the office? And those watching now, would you say you're more productive at home or more productive in the office?
Probably not at home.
Yeah.
At home, because I'm on my own pace. But I do know when I got a mad deadline, I feel like the office gives me a bit of, I don't know. I feel like my boss is around.
Okay.
Like if I've got something to do, I don't really want to engage with no one. I'm gonna just do my thing. But when it comes to like a heavy deadline, I know like I can just go in the office, headphones, I'll lock in, slap it up and then go. When it's like more relaxed projects, I prefer just being in my house and doing, because I just feel like there's just so many things that can bear a distraction. And then I got to create that discipline and say, look, this is my workstation, let me do this, rather than quickly go gym, or rather than quickly do this, quickly do that. So I think when it comes to something hefty, I'll go in. Day to day, I can be on.
Do you think if workplaces go to this 4-day working split, that a lot of companies are experimenting with, people be more productive?
Facts.
Yeah.
Why would you be more productive working less days?
Because you're more productive when you're working, when there's a bank holiday coming. Like, number one, you're on a deadline. So you have to
try to get out of the way.
I'm trying to figure this one out.
Yeah, you're going to have to get out of the way before. So right now, let's say my company's German based and they got a bank holiday coming on Friday. They need all their approvals by Wednesday. So
but
if...
couldn't one argue then that your deadline is just technically the Friday when you close? So you got to get everything done by Friday?
No.
That's the
because they need to approve it before they go off. So they will go off Thursday effectively.
So basically, as a business owner, I'm losing another day, which is being, because now we don't close on Friday, we close on Thursday now, so that you get an extra day as leisure to yourself.
Do you think people prefer 8 to 6s 4 days than 9 to 5 or 5 days?
Yes.
I think we need to come out of this system of being on a rigid 9 to 5, and I think what people need to do now is just concentrate the hours of work in a smaller pool.
That's what I said. 8 to 6.
Can you get wham in 4 days? Do you need 6 days a week to get wham?
No,
exactly.
But I think a lot of the time that is spent in the workplace, you get at 9 o'clock, you're probably dossing around for maybe an hour and a bit. I think then you work maybe an hour and a bit till lunch comes. You then come back and you're a bit unproductive. So realistically, I think in a 9 to 5 job, you're only really working maybe 3. It depends. I can't talk
About
for all
4 hours.
but
On average, it's about 4 hours.
Yeah, that's if you're in an office job.
Yeah.
If you're working in, like I used to work in retail. I used to work in Tesco's, and mate, I worked from the moment I walked into Tesco, I stacked shelves till my break, and I came back and I stacked shelves.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit and pretend.
I got 5
but
from
I think in the
Tesco's.
office job, I think certain environments you don't need to work for 8 hours. You can literally condense it into 3 hours.
I go in at 9.
That's why
I got my stand up at 9:30.
Can't do it, bro.
Go in and then I'll quickly just go prep or whatever. Get my stuff.
As in whilst you're being paid, you're going prep.
Yeah. So as soon as 9 o'clock starts.
Wait.
Yeah,
on
so
my money, you're going to
100%.
prep.
So we go in. So this is what you do. You go in, 9 o'clock, and then we don't have our stand up till like 9:30.
Okay.
So then basically, everyone will pick if they've got a runner for the day, and then someone might be like, "Who wants coffee?" And then that person will go out and get it. And then whilst we're still setting up to go in for our first meeting of the day, and obviously my boss, he's
So what time roughly might be your first meeting? 10:30?
9:30.
Okay.
So 9:30. From 9:30 up until 1, we're in meetings. Like, it's hectic.
And would you say these are compulsory meetings?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
It's like it would be a thing where there would be your team. So it's something that's solely for you. Then there'd be something that's for everyone. And the wickedest thing is, I wouldn't say they're compulsory, but what happens is you lose the synergy and what's happening with everyone else. So you can have a meeting with head of accounts, and what head of accounts will be doing is they will be giving you the breakdown of the SOCs or any projects we have coming up.
SOC,
SOCs is like big assets that will be coming up. So it could be a thing where Scion or Venue 25, what we're doing is we've got 5 posts that are going out on social media, and these are the timeline, this is what's going to happen, this is the talent we've got working with it, this is how we want it to go. If I miss that meeting, I'm kind of out of the loop.
You're out of the loop.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it almost is compulsory because you need to be on point, but it's up to you what you, you know what I'm saying, what you want to do, because there's independent reading that you can go on, like our SharePoint, and we can kind of look for press releases, press.
So it's basically like uni. You just
to a degree,
you're just attending lecture.
It's up to you.
If you don't get it, there's a PowerPoint.
Like there's ones that are definitely designed for you, and you got to make your way there. And then there's ones that you can kind of drop out.
Yeah. So if your classes and your lectures, you're meant to go to your classes.
Would you say that this work could be done at home? Would you say you could just have a Zoom call or with Google or Microsoft Teams?
Definitely.
And you could just do this as a Zoom call.
Definitely.
Meeting.
But
So
our boss, he definitely likes the concept of family, and he believes that we work better when we're around each other. So we have this thing called weekly downloads.
Okay.
At the end of the week, there's a wheel that will spin, and it will select one person who will basically present the following week what they've seen on social media, what they're into, world news, automotive news, what's really happening. And then what that does do is, for the people that may work internationally, may work in Devon, Newcastle, it creates that bond that we know each other already. So we had a work social yesterday. I came in, people were saying, "Lance, I'm looking at you." But I'm looking at you because they're like, your downloads was A1.
okay.
So it's built.
So for those who are watching, they might be wondering what you're talking about. What field is this, sir?
I work in social media.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
I work in, basically, I'm a senior community manager. So basically, my whole aim is this venue here, I build it based on what I see, based on comments, analytics, and other various bits and that. And what I do is I start creating content based on that, or campaigns based on that.
Is that it?
On a nutshell, yeah.
Are you hiring?
Well, eventually, possibly, yeah. Eventually, I'll ask them. We can go from there.
For those who are not aware, this is Gracious K. For those who
go
don't aware, he's been on the
it.
pod before, but we didn't introduce him because he's been on the pod before. For those who don't know, he had I'm gonna say he has a very, I think probably the biggest funky house song there is, which is Migraine Skank. If you're not aware of it, put your left hand, right hand, do the okey pokey and the karaoke. And I think it's good to see.
Is that gonna flag up on the?
It's good to see a transition.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I was talking about the other day with my mate is how artists, footballers, sports players, actors, people who are still in the limelight, how do you navigate that journey when you're out in Napa, you're out in Ibiza, you're out in Barcelona, you're basically, you're everywhere. Everyone knows your song. You're here in the EastEnders. Like, there's not a place where I went to.
And you still perform.
And you still perform now.
Yeah.
There's not a place that I went to in 2010-ish, I think it was, 2011, where you didn't hear Migraine Skank. And even now, you still hear it. And I think, what is it like for you now, navigating as Gracious K, to now saying, okay, I've got this hit single, I'm still performing it. I may not be performing as much as I was. I've put out catalogues of music. It may not have resonated as much as Migraine Skank done. How do you, let me use the word deal with it, but how do you deal with it? Because my brother is in the same, is floating through that crazy chamber where it's like, how do you do this? How do you work this? How do you work this? Because people look at, like, you're Gracious K. Like, you go to a rave and you're hearing your song playing and the place is jumping.
All the time.
Like, it's jumping, you're like, raw, like, I created this, you know. Like,
Alright, so we give you a rundown, yeah? How I've been able to deal with it is like you lot. You lot, Marvs, Tays. I don't think if I didn't have you lot around, I don't think I would have been able to deal with it. Because what happened is, subconsciously I felt like I failed. So when I felt like I failed...
I want to interrupt you. Failed at what, sorry?
I just didn't become the big star I thought I was going to be.
I remember when you used to have these talks with me and I used to say to you like...
But you didn't fail though.
Yeah,
like,
this is what I'm saying. But that's why I say mental health and all these things are very important, because what it looks like to me and feels like to me, you guys can be like, what are you talking about? Like, you're you. Like, and obviously I became a recluse. I stopped kind of going out. I didn't go to none of these events. My first summer of love would have been, and it's been going on for however long. So I was the friend that never came out. So when I kind of started more so connecting with you lot properly, I kind of was happy just being Lance. And it was no pressure of expectation. There was no pressure of release. There was no pressure of no new music, bro. It was almost just like, just man them. Like, and one thing that was very impressive about our group, everyone's financial status wasn't an issue. Everyone's social status wasn't an issue. It was just real people. Yeah. There's people from Leicester, Brum. Everyone's doing what they're doing. It didn't matter. And I felt like that was what was really good about our group, that there wasn't a leader of the group. Everyone was impactful in their own way, you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, everyone kind of motivates each other to go
this is it.
After what they want.
This is it.
Like the other day, Jess went and got a new job and he was like, I think he was shocked that he was going to get that job. And also the money that they offered him was more than he expected as well. So I said to him, congrats. And every man said congrats. And I said to him, raw, it's stepping stones. A couple of years' time, you go for something else. You just keep on
and
elevating and moving.
Sometimes I feel like when you have like good male friendships, right? Because there's things that guys may not, necessarily come through on. And there's other things that they're talented in. But when you have good friendships where there's no ego, someone in our group can have half a M, someone in our group can be on their last 10 quid. But there's no separation, that no one feels that. It's just that, what do you need to elevate? So I think, all right, let's just take it. I made Migraine Skank. It was lit. Biggest tune in the country. Got signed. touring, doing all these things, going to all these parties, meeting all these people, yada yada yada. My inability to stand strong in my conviction was a problem. So my inability to just be like, this is what I want to do. Because in essence, you've signed me for this. So what are we doing this for? Like, and 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, it was more of a fight. It was more of a token black man. It was more of a, you need to get Radio 1 to like you. If Radio 1 don't like you, then the singles is a bust. There's nothing we can do. It's not like now where it's a bit like the Wild Wild West, where radio's playing catch up. So let's say if you made Migraine now, it'd be astronomical. You do the tune and you're doing other tunes and it's not necessarily connecting as much. But so you start to think, shit, it's not working. And your head's just a bit gone. And then all of a sudden the party invites dwindle. The let's do lunch, that kind of dies down. And then it's almost, my thing was, I kind of started telling myself no one cares.
As in the fans don't care, or the execs, the people at the top don't
Right.
care.
So now my problem was, I wasn't looking at quote unquote fans, supporters, followers. I'm looking at the industry. Because before, when you have a baby, they don't know that the furnace is hot. You need to put fear into them. So when I'm coming to the industry, I don't necessarily know about radio. I don't know about press. I don't know about any of this shit. I'm coming from ends. And when I'm coming from ends, this is what we're doing. And then when you have your first encounter, when you have a big record, there's more people in the room.
Of course, yeah.
Now there's more people in the room, there's more voices, there's more opinions. When you have those more opinions, they are almost have the capacity to drive your decision making because you want to get it right.
What kind of music were they trying to push you towards?
What Tinchin that was making at the time.
I figured.
That was the in thing. That was what was on radio.
Tiny,
that was what was on radio.
Yeah,
that was
I figured.
what was.
But basically, the woman on the hook and then the guy rapping. The woman on the hook and the guy rapping.
Then man will just stand there and do token. And it was like, look, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of come from grime, innit? So my whole concept was, how do I find a way to make funky house grimier? And it's worked that we're, you know, in the uni scene and we're really doing our thing to a point where it's led me to you guys. And because of fear and poverty. Now, poverty mentally is one of the driving forces why you accept bare minimum. So the concept of the idea of Sony's like, I'm with Sony, is
they could twang you.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't want to lose this. And in not losing this, there's no pim.
They shelved you.
You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why Michael Jackson's thing was funnier is because he died when Migraine was meant to come out. So when Migraine was meant to come out, he died, and RCA, everything got shelved. Like, our priority was get MJ's music out.
So would you say that when you was in these meetings with like Sony, etc., would you say that, because I always think that when you're negotiating, you need to have some sort of leverage, otherwise you're not in a position to negotiate. So would you say that the feeling of them perhaps maybe doing you a favor by even putting them onto their company, label, whatever, like you kind of felt like, I need to kind of just keep it
so
still, man?
the leverage was, I was big, like I was hot, and the thing was that this is a massive establishment, like almost like Sunday school, wear shoes and suit, not come as you are. So as you get older and you understand church and scripture, it really is, I'm not saying come in a tracksuit, just come polished, come as you are. You understand what I'm saying? Come to present yourself to the Lord as you are. But growing up African, Sunday best, that was a shirt and shoes and click clack. That was the vibe for church. And I feel like with the label situation, when you kind of have that self-worth, or, you know, that lack of being strong in yourself, you will kind of be swayed with what they're dealing with. And at the end of the day, there's someone in here who's chatting all this shit. You got a manager who's chatting all this shit. He's passed away now, so God rest his soul. He's not chatting shit in terms of the things he's saying is bad. It's just like, this makes sense. Try this. And in your head, you could be like, all right, cool, let's try a thing. But I just wished back then I had a bit of more of a voice, because I was gangster for everything else. But it's like,
when it came to really matter.
yeah, like in this corporate world, I was thinking, bruv, man, don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of the times, a lot of these youths right now, they're coming from getting free Adidas. Adidas trainers and free this and free that, free Puma. So you're going to tell me I'm going to go from my bedroom to 150 bags. I don't care what the contract was like.
So even with, as you said, when hanging around with us, you said, for instance, that you can be Lance and you're not Gracious K.
Yep.
When, and don't take this the wrong way, when the come down came, where, for instance, you're out there performing in Napa, you're technically I hate using the word urban, but the song was big enough to say that for the party scene, you had one of the biggest tracks in the UK. So how does it now, how do you feel coming from being Gracious K to where people now see you as Lance? Where it's almost as if you come somewhere, you get to the door, and someone looks at you and knows you're Gracious K. And if this was a few years ago, they would have said, yo, no, red carpet, ropes open, you walk straight in. To someone looking at you and you're like, oh, is your name on the list?
So the thing is, I separated Lance and Gracious. Because I felt Gracious failed, I was happy being Lance. So when I went to church, in my head, I had this thing where I didn't think people knew who I was. So when I'm going places, I'm introducing myself as Lance. I'm helping out, I'm service, bringing this, I'm doing that. And I'm like, right, this is lit. People just like, Lance is cool. Like, why go on Lance? What are you telling me? And then it was one day, someone was like, oh, so what, Gracious, no new music? And I was thinking, shit, you know this? And then it was like, bruv, everyone knows who you are.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized all the problems I had created was mentally. I created my own giants. It actually wasn't happening outside. So when I was chatting to Chiz, chatting to Marv, Taze, they was like, you do know you're kind of beefing yourself because I never came out. So when I started coming Summer of Love and people are like almost starstruck, I'm like, for what? In my brain, I'm thinking, what are you starstruck about?
So it's like almost imposter syndrome in a way.
Absolutely. Because basically I remember I messaged the group and I said, yo, I'm at some book thing, this, and you know, they're saying all these names and all this, and I'm thinking, shit, I don't know none of these people. Like, and I felt like I shouldn't be here. And they're like, why shouldn't you be there? They was like, do you know who you are? Do you know what you've done? And then the same people I'm admiring, who are fairly older, they're like, Gracious, come, say what I want. And then I'm like, shit. So it was a lot of confidence issues. I remember it got so bad, when the peak started coming down, what I used to do was, I used to type my name into Twitter.
Big mistake.
Yeah. So
Never said your name.
That's what that made you come off Twitter.
Listen, it's a search. Hey, do not search.
And that made you come off Twitter.
Hey.
it got so bad, I used to search my name to see if anyone cared.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, surely someone must can. Like, I used to type in all sorts of things just to see different variations. And then when you see, like, they're not talking about Gracious, but they're talking about migraine skank, I was thinking, it is what it is. And then I remember, so one of my cousins, he came to live with me, man. And he does security, he does doors and stuff like that. And he's just out there person. And he was like, I can see you're down, you're just weird, you're not the same, what's happening? And he was like, come out with man. So I went to one of his events. I kid you not, when I went to this event, it's almost like social media has made artists of today not seem like celebs.
Everyone's accessible.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's weird. So I'm in a place with people who I'm looking at who are thinking you're doing sick right now. Like, your numbers are mad.
Yeah.
But the love I'm receiving is outweighing them, and I didn't get why. And when people are coming up to me saying, bro, you made this time in my life, or so they're almost talking to me like they can picture a moment in life and I impacted that. So I was like, okay, this is cool. And people are like, no new music. And I'm like, oh, you don't need to say that, bro.
I
It's
remember.
okay. It's all
Yeah,
good.
I remember when you come somewhere love and you
The
were
first-
just chilling.
yeah.
And I just chucked you the mic and I just looked at the DJ and said,
And in
"Will
my
the
head, I
tune."
think I don't want it. I don't want it. In my head, I think I don't want it.
That's
But
in the mic. I
it's
said,
like
"Will the
being
tune,
in that
man."
uncomfortable position
Yeah.
and then seeing everyone go crazy. I was
Yeah,
like,
and everyone's getting mad.
what's happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then girls, guys, my brother, yo, man, no, come on, Gracious, man. People like, give me your number. People are ringing me saying, we need to do new music. So then I started realizing that I was the problem.
Yeah, you switched off.
Yeah, I was the problem.
But that's why even a lot of times, yeah, like how you said with the celebrity thing, where everyone just seems like everyone's just normal. That's why I always tweet, "Rah, I'm not a fan of no one but my friends." But why I realised that most of my friends
Or someone.
are someone to other people.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh yeah, you know so and so," I'm not even thinking like you see how you say, "Oh, Lance and Gracious." I'm thinking of man on the first name basis. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know," but like because you're around the same people all over all the time. But everyone started at different paces. But
Absolutely.
it feels like the past 4 or 5 years, a lot of people have gone boom.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, but it's not out of nowhere. They've
been grafting and
yeah.
working.
Example, people like Mo, Babatunde.
I lie?
Yeah, it's just it's gone boom, 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 boom. But man has been around these people like 15 years,
And we've actually seen...
and we've seen the progression. And, but it's happening with everyone in different sectors now. So it's like when people are like, oh yeah, that's so and so, blah blah blah. You're like, oh, that's just from ends.
And it's mad. I think people don't necessarily understand, like, all right, so you see Mo the comedian at Summer of Love, and you'll be like, oh, why is he here? And you don't realise we've been going to like Sunday show, or we'd be going to whatnot, and just for a while. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like when he performed at Comedy Club back in 07,
Yeah.
08.
So
Yeah,
I think
things like that, yeah.
I think in terms of the come down, I just had to accept that migraine was a great period in life.
So Migrant Skank didn't fail. Gracious K didn't fail.
Yeah.
And that's the thing
It just
where
had
I'm
this
trying to get the
it
point.
had an
what you
amazing moment.
Yeah.
But
And
I felt like shit. I failed because I didn't live up to the expectation of what
That you set for
you
yourself.
understand what I'm saying. And what made it worse was I didn't know what the expectation was.
And my thing though is that I think the era which you came out in, I say to myself, and this is how you got to look at it, how many people from that funky house era still continued making music and being successful after the funky house era died? Name me one.
Probably Deneo. Probably Deneo.
But would
Yeah,
wait.
probably
Would you
Deneo.
say his career still? Would you say he's still okay? Name me a Deneo song that is his own song that resonates from 2020 till now.
He had like Real Niggas in My Circle, that song. He's had a few records, but see
So I mean, so let's say Deneo.
Party hard.
Yeah, so
Deneo is sick anyway.
No, so the
Deneo
reason-
produces. He's a complete
And I
shutdown.
think
Deneo.
the reason why I'm saying it is because how you need to see it like this here. So basically, in
And Deneo came from grime. He came from garage.
Yeah.
So Deneo's an anomaly. So let's put Deneo aside. Name me
Okay.
someone else apart from Deneo. Because Deneo was doing grime. Someone who
I think
who was birthed in the Funky House era.
It would be Deneo.
No, but he was birthed before Funky House.
I don't think anyone did.
Oh, come on, Bounce. But
No,
Bounce
I mean,
with
I
it,
don't think anyone.
Oh.
If we're removing Deneo,
Yeah, remove Deneo.
I don't think anyone then.
That's what I'm saying. Name me someone who was birthed from Funky House. Not saying you weren't around before Funky House, but I think it's fair to say we knew you from Funky House.
Yeah.
If you can name me one person from the Funky House era who transcended past when Funky House
I
died,
don't think anyone.
I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, I don't think anyone.
So when you use the word failed,
Crazy.
I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can agree with that. With the word failed.
I think failed works because it felt like I didn't transcend, and I don't think I felt like all the cards were in my favor to ascend, and just kind of navigate into just because one thing you need to understand about anything creative, right? Or just anything like that. Everyone has runs.
Yes.
Now, when
Yes.
you have a run, what you're meant to do with your run is do the most.
Yes.
You know what? Yeah, I think if you lot
if Instagram came out 3 years before,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we was at the start of like
Yeah,
quote,
you
unquote,
lot-
I
you
think
lot
I was like
would-
the
you lot
first.
would have been
I
there.
think I was like the first or second video on GRM.
Yeah.
Like me and Tribal Mags was like the
Yeah.
early videos on the actual implementation of GRM website. So like everything was very early on. So we just cracked it in a way that was intense.
And you mentioned the good part about saying you had a run.
Yeah.
And that's so important to understand that you had a run. And whether something starts or stops, I don't think is an issue. Like, for instance, Scion London is going at the end of this month. Did I fail?
No.
I've had a run.
Yeah.
And the run has ran its course.
Yes, 100%.
And it's time to move on to something else.
Absolutely.
So if someone no longer sees me as Gabriel Scion and now sees
Absolutely.
me as Gabriel something else,
Absolutely.
I'm still
And
me.
I think if you don't realize that everything happens in runs, that is the problem. So what people need to understand is music, performing is very addictive. It's like a drug.
Okay.
The first hit or the first high people take when you're on stage and everyone's screaming your name, it's
What does
almost
that feel like when you walk? What does it feel like
It's-
when you
it's- it's like
when you
a-
walk
it's-
out on stage and everyone's going mad?
it's like it's euphoria. It's almost like
Can you still get that now? It's not stopped.
yeah. So
you
it's
still
not,
walk out
it's
and it
not,
still happens.
but it's I think it's all right. So let's just use Summer of Love, right? Chiso's very level-headed. Like you can see, he's just always calculating, and he's always just in the club, just like he can just no. He doesn't ever seem comfortable. I feel like
Yeah, I agree.
I feel
I
like
agree.
I feel like I know when Chiso's comfortable because a young top button might. So it's like he's the rave is
Yeah.
there now. But if you notice it now, there's let's say use America. There's people who are Chiso 10 times over. When you stop and your rave, the 5,000 people you used to get is 500. You start looking at boy. And when that starts happening, if you haven't accepted that you had a run, but you're still actually getting numbers in, people are always comparing them what they did previously with what they're doing now and whatnot. Do you understand what I'm
Funny
saying?
enough, you say that. That's this year. So someone said to me, "Oh, why aren't you doing the festival?"
or something. Yeah.
I said the same thing you said. I said, "Listen, when it was right after pandemic, we was meant to do the day party, but because feds run up, I said that gave probably a bitter taste to people." Because that party sold 1,800 tickets. That was a day party.
Mental.
1,800 tickets, and
Mental.
obviously had to deal with them refunds. So a lot of people, a lot of people.
Every time you tell me this story, the pain.
It left like
the
it
pain.
left like a sour taste
Ah.
with
How
them.
much did you lose against that? $6 bills.
$6.
Pain. Oh, mate.
Add a five, boy.
Add an
So-
extra 4 zeros.
So yeah, after that, now I think that made us lose, not our core base. It made us lose the people that heard the hype and jumped on. So then we've done the festival in what was it, 2021, and that was good. We had like about 2,200 people. So we thought, you know what, keep our money. Let's go bigger. Last year we've gone bigger now, more rides, bigger space, and it just didn't work out. So we had like 1,600 people. After paying off everything, I sat back and said, I could make the same money with only 500 people. Why am I kidding myself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people have been hitting up saying, this year are you not gonna do the festival? I said, no, we're going back to the baseline and building back up. So they partied the other day, we had 650. We were happy with that, and we said, like, when speaking to Daps, he was like, bro, like, I'm used to seeing minimum when we do a dance 12, 10. I said, bro, you know what? Like, when we first decided to do this rave, I said, what did we both say in the WhatsApp group? If we make 2 bags each, we're happy.
Yeah.
So I said, you can't be complaining after doing a dance and the dancers brought 6.5 each. I said, you can't be complaining because our original goal was 2 bags each. But I think because we got used to dancers bringing in 15 bags and we're like, we should have hit more. You know?
How much are tickets again? There's what, £20, £25?
So they start at 20.
Now, why are tickets so expensive, please?
That's not expensive.
No, I just want to have this conversation.
But that's not expensive.
No,
let me
I tell you what it is. You know, when we talk about
The mic is too far.
we're gonna.
Hey, Motive.
No, we're gonna.
How much are tickets on
Let me
average
drink. Let me
these
drink
days?
my drink, please.
About 15 to 20 pounds.
Yeah, so 10,
That's the starting
15,
base, isn't it?
£10 early
That's the
bird.
early bird.
Oh, that's early bird.
Yeah,
so,
10 early
bird.
So how much is? So what's that? The last release ticket? How much today?
35.
35, 40.
Now, why has Raven become so expensive like this? Because I know it's a genuine question.
Don't
Because
worry,
I'm
don't worry. We're
because-
taking it to America.
Because ketchup costs £5.
okay, but this is my thing. Is this when we talk about capitalism and we talk about people making surplus amounts of money? So, for instance, you've done when you was doing Summer of Love in Leighton or Leytonstone.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that would probably be those events were the ones where you was walking. I'm not getting the amount, but you was walking away with a hefty load of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 pockets full.
Yeah, a hefty load of money. Now, when people talk about capitalism and say that capitalism is bad, capitalism is wrong because one person shouldn't be able to make this amount of money from something. And I say, do you see where you're charging £20, £30, £40, for instance? You already know your break-even point. Yeah. So you know that if you've got maybe 300 people that come and you charge £10, that might be $3,000. Yeah. You will know that covers all your cost generally for your event, isn't it? So you could do that event and charge.
Not in Leighton.
No, I'm talking about in Trent Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair to say that
Yeah.
£3,000 will cover everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you could afford to sell your tickets at £10 because if you've got 650 people, that's £6,500. You
Yeah.
could, isn't it, at £10?
Yeah.
You could probably afford to do it at £5 each and still break even. Is it fair to say that? Because that'll give you about £3,000.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you do the tickets at £10 and just maybe go away with maybe a few £100 profit?
Why do I want to break even?
No, because when people have a problem with capitalism,
but-
I want to say,
but the thing
how
is-
much money, wait 1 second, when should you stop with the amount of money you should be allowed to make from an event?
Bro, you move with the times. If everyone on average is hitting the minimum £20, why are you gonna go 5, 10? It's like, do you go to your barber now and ask for like 99 prices?
Now, if for instance, if us as the consumer, if us as the consumer, okay, decided we're not paying this price for tickets, what would you do?
The
Someone
market
else is gonna
dictates
pay
the
for it.
price.
Yeah, the market.
The market
Bro,
dictates
there's
the
So who is the problem then? Is it the consumer?
Wait. There's
or is it the
wait,
producer?
There's other
the
dances.
consumer.
We're not going to say what dance, but there's other dances we go to that starts off at 50. You know what dances?
Yeah,
like.
but this is the
and,
problem.
and people go mad to
But
buy
wait,
the
this
tickets.
is a conversation I want to have about capitalism. Is when
Sorry,
do people?
How much do you pay your haircut?
At the moment, if he drives to me,
30.
I pay £30.
How much do you pay for your haircut?
Yeah, if you drive stuff, right?
£30.
Would you go to the £5 barber? Okay.
No, wait, it depends.
No. My other barber that's down the road from me, if I walked in and said the shape up, he would charge me a 5.
No.
But I give him 10.
I'm saying the fade.
Then
I'm saying the
then
full
haircut,
shebang.
he charged 15. I give him 20.
Exactly. So 15 once upon a
But
time.
I said to him,
a haircut was a diver.
But I said to him, you're undercutting yourself.
Yeah, but realistic, and also sometimes as well, you need to understand that. See, capitalism, it doesn't affect everyone, and some people don't. They've come from a certain old school, so they don't necessarily would have raised their prices, or they're not really social media savvy and whatnot. So I'm saying in terms of you're paying £20-30 for your haircut. Once upon a time, a haircut was £7.
I try to look presentable because I believe somebody will look at me,
Of course.
and buy into me because I look presentable.
Why don't you cut your own hair?
I probably could learn it in the same way. Why don't I wash my own car? I could probably wash my car instead of
So
spending
you're
£12.
paying for someone's trade.
Yes.
If you're paying for someone's trade, shouldn't they be able to charge surplus for their skills?
Okay, but my question is, should there be a limit? So, for instance, someone like Jeff Bezos, who is a multi-billionaire, people like Bill Gates, should there be a limit on how much somebody can earn?
There should never be a limit. That doesn't make sense.
Because what people are saying is that you don't need more than 2 million. This is an article I read. You don't need more than £2 million in a year. So therefore, anything above 2 million, you should be
Surplus.
taxing it by 99%.
Okay.
90 what?
Yep.
makes sense.
And my thing is this: the moment you stifle capitalism, you stifle competition, you stifle innovation. Meaning, if you tell me that the most I can make is this, I'm not going to start
I ain't
creating
gonna
things
do
anymore.
nothing no more.
But how do we fix the inequality that we have now?
There
That's
will always
the
be
question.
inequality and
How do you fix
imbalance.
it?
Because
There will
imbalance is balance. Because there'll never be everyone on par. Because even if you gave everyone the same money for doing the same job, doing the exact same thing, but like if you took all Jeff Bezos' money and said, all right, cool, from now everyone's earning the same money, in a few years he'll have the same money. You'll have your money. You have your money. You have your money. Because he creates value.
So how do we fix
I'll give you
inequality?
an example.
Because when you've got people like him charging £30 for
but
tickets for
isn't it-
raves,
isn't-
how do we fix this?
isn't
No,
it-
how do we
more.
fix this?
You should charge more.
No, isn't it?
Wait, you want a
isn't-
percentage?
No, how do you
isn't
fix
it-
this?
Isn't
Because you could charge us £10 and still make money.
Do I charge you?
No, that doesn't matter. I'm talking about the customers that come to Summer of Love.
They'll charge you.
Why are you charging them?
They'll charge you.
Even you, that you're going to perform places, why are you charging people like grands to perform? Bro?
Alright,
What should I do?
You could walk and say for free.
Cool. Wes, we
They
got
raised my rent back anyway.
Bro, your song was
Wait,
10 years ago. Why are you still charging man bags
Gabriel,
now?
We got a live show here.
Yeah.
We're charging what? £10.
£10.
But they get a complimentary
Yeah,
drink.
that's for the drink. So we,
So
oh
the-
yeah, and even
so-
with that, even with that,
Even
like-
you, Wes. What even you, Wes?
Gabriel, even with that,
Why are you charging so much
Wes,
of things?
I said
And
everyone.
you in the corner, bro.
charge
I
everyone
don't know
should-
what you do, but why are you
everyone
charging
should
so much?
hold it.
Well, I don't know
Everyone
what
should
you do
hold
for a
it.
living. Why are you charging so much?
even in the comments, even in the comments, you saw the person wrote, why are you charging for that?
Yeah, complaining.
What are you charging for? What?
Someone said, why are you charging for the show? I said, right, you're getting the.
You're not gonna come buy a drink. You're getting a drink for free.
The cost of the drink is £11. You're getting
Pussy or
you're
not?
getting-
Sorry.
The cost of the drink is £11. You're getting it for.
I think what it is right. We've got to a place where things are expensive. Everyone's budgeting for what they think is necessary. Now, raving is a luxury.
Oh yeah, I had the cheapest weekend.
What was it?
Raving is a luxury. I saw a post recently where this guy was saying how nail technicians, right? You'll pay these insane prices for hair, lashes, eyebrows, microblading and whatnot. But when a nail tech wants to charge XYZ,
saw that
you'll be
video.
upset,
Yeah.
right? And he's basically saying that nails are a luxury. And I think because we get things done so often and so frequent, we believe they are a necessity. Getting your haircut is a luxury. Being able to get a fade and look in the mirror and say, ooh, is actually a luxury. Because you could go and get your hair cut yourself. You can cut it yourself, or you can get your uncle or whomever to cut your hair yourself. You want to look the
Presentable.
best way, you know what I'm saying? So I think consumerism, capitalism, all these isms, how they work it out is there needs to be somebody doing something exceptional for you to aspire to.
And what was it? So you can say, Chiso?
No, I was saying like when you was talking about.
Pause. Sorry. That was really bad.
Yeah.
Say before I go back in.
I don't want to be mature because
Wow.
they'll message
Yeah,
me
I don't
saying,
usually say
they'll
pause,
message
but
me and say,
that was
grow up,
really-
but damn, son.
Yeah.
Go
No,
to it before I go back in.
You wild,
whoa.
man. You wild, son.
I had a very cheap weekend this weekend. So when we went out, that was free entry. Taser thing, shout out Taser. Then at the end, when we try and leave and buy food, and our mate, she bought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she bought.
Oh, wherever you are, darling, thank you. She bought us some chicken jerk.
No, she always comes to my love.
No, thank you,
Yeah,
babes.
yeah, yeah.
Wherever you are, babes.
No, she always comes to my love. But
Fantastic
it's like,
weekend.
what I realised, when you look out for people, so she was on my table and lost some of love, but I just bought drinks and left there and said, right, for the girls. But when you look after people, they look after you. Because look, I didn't even spend a penny that day. I had drinks, I
It
had
was a good
food,
night.
I had free
It was a
entry.
good night.
Even if you want to take it,
That's like £100 night there,
even-
but it's free for me. What?
even if you want to take it biblical, whether you believe or not, bless others, you'll be blessed. At the end of the day, in this life, yeah, I feel like sometimes I don't want to use the word duty like it's an obligation, but if I can make your life easier, I will. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, let's say Chizo's doing the venue stuff. I work in social media. I feel like as my brethren, I should try and make his life easier and just be like, try this way. I can't necessarily take on this contract or whatever, but add this for a video wise. Don't make your captions sound too hood or whatever. Make your captions sound like this. Like at the end of the day, we all help each other in different ways. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying then that we should have a moral obligation, maybe as human beings, to try and maybe filter the excess that we have into those who we see as maybe not as well put together as us. Because I think no matter how you look at it, if you're very skilled and good at what you do, people will funnel a lot of money into your direction. And unfortunately, that's what builds capitalism, in the sense that someone like the guy who invented Apple, we've all liked the product, and we've all ran to it, and we've all bought it for whatever reason we have, and now the guy's a billionaire. But I say, at what point should there ever be a cap?
No.
So what you're saying is that, like, the rich should just get rich and the poor should just get poorer.
No, but the poorer, what I'm trying to say is, I feel like
Because if there isn't a cap, because there's a huge inequality, meaning they say that
absolutely.
They say,
And it's
they
always
say
been
90 they say almost
I
like
feel like
99 or 90% of the world's wealth is owned by like 1%
Yeah,
of people.
I feel like
It will always be that way.
Yeah, I feel like it's absolutely unfair.
So basically,
forever be
inequality
that
is
way.
just going to be there. There's nothing that we can do to fix it.
There will
Yeah, but
never
I
be
feel like-
equality.
I feel like
as I said to you, if you took all their money, bro, it's gonna end up with the same exact people, because with money and the way the economy works and the way people work, and just it's gonna repeat itself. And like everything goes in cycles, like house prices. Every market is driven by people. It's not driven by numbers on a screen or anything. It's driven by human behavior, and humans act the same consistently over a 5 to 8 year period. Like when you're going for mortgages and house prices are going up and interest rates are going up, they're going down. That's people. That's whether they're borrowing money from the bank. They borrow money when it's cheap to borrow money. Obviously, as you know, you get loans and stuff. And then when it's expensive to get money, they don't borrow money anymore. And then the house prices change.
I can even do
Same thing's gonna happen.
I can even do one further. I feel like what we are actually doing is discrediting exceptional people.
Yeah, massively.
Like the mind of Steve Jobs is exceptional. Like what he had to go to university, or what he had to create, or people who were doing like you know, in the cyber world, and they're actually reading data. I think we discredit.
How many billionaires are born into a millionaire family?
Like-
That's the first thing.
Do you know what I'm saying? I think we're really, because I think like we're talking about capitalism, and we're thinking about, you know, Jeff Bezos and whatnot, right? But okay, the world should be fair, yeah. Now,
Should
I'm
we
not
be
saying
fair?
that.
no, I'm saying like this is what people believe. The world
so
should
that's
be-
what Gabriel
the world
said.
should be fair.
The
No,
what?
he's just being.
I mean, the world should be
he's
fair.
being-
The world should be
he's
fair.
being an advocate. So I'm saying the world should be fair, yeah. So what I'm saying is, let's just use somebody who believes that concept, right? Jeff Bezos walks into here right now, sits down, and he says, "I'm gonna tell you what I do in 1 hour. Try a thing."
Note down everything.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like I feel like people undervalue what his brain consists of, what he actually does. Like for Taser and Chucky to create that R&B slow jams, people are like, I could have done that. You couldn't have.
You can have.
Like for people to for Zuma and that to do Rock Boys and create a lifestyle where people
People
feel
don't
they're a
understand, yeah.
part of
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
you couldn't have. Like I don't think people necessarily understand the concept of, okay, 3 shots of tequila, we can just talk in front of a mic, but you're getting 500 plays. Like it's not about. There's people who have 100k followers, but they cannot generate that into listenership.
So basically, what we're saying in essence is that if you've become a skilled master at your craft,
Charge up.
then you should be able to. If people are ready to pay for what you're paying and it makes you a millionaire, billionaire,
Charge up.
no one should put a cap or no one should put a penalty in it. So, for instance, you see how taxes work. If you earn over, I think it's 40
I think you
grand
should
or
pay- I
something,
think you should pay
you
tax
should
though.
pay 40% more than,
You-
and they pay 20%. So should I be taxed more because I earn more?
No.
Do you think that's fair?
I think if
Because this is I had an argument with someone the other day about that.
I think if you tax
Should I be taxed more?
tax is a bit mad, because some of these corporations, like, they're earning like 10 billion.
No, I mean as a me and you. So let's say you're earning
As an
35k
individual.
and you're only getting taxed 20 because you're under the bracket, and I earn now 60k and they now tax 40% on everything above that threshold. Should I be taxed 40% above? Should I be taxed 20% more than you?
I think
Or should
now
everyone
you're-
just be taxed the
now
same?
you're
No, I don't
35K.
think they should make it the same, but I think they should make it more tiers. Like I think more tiers should make sense. So I
So the
think
more you earn, the more you should get taxed.
I feel like basically, you
Thing
see,
is, they try and tax it.
No, so basically, I'm saying like, you see, like, you got 35 grand, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's certain people who earn 50k, maybe 60k, getting taxed the same as somebody who earns 250k. What you're left with is a bit mad, isn't it?
So if 60k, you're taking 40% off, that's 36 grand.
Do you get what I'm saying? So
pay
$3
as you
grand a
earn
month.
is a fuckery, though.
I think with that, it just becomes
being
people
employed is a
start
fuckery.
getting to the point where they don't want to earn above a certain amount, because
But that's what I'm saying. Pay as you earn is a
the tax
fuckery.
is stiff.
Yeah.
Because the take home for like a 100k job is something stupid.
That's why some people say.
they take the piss.
That's why some
But-
people claim that 100k isn't enough.
But
As in what? As in enough for what?
Enough money.
For what though?
Litness, innit?
Everything's about for what
Litness,
though?
innit?
For what though?
Litness, innit? Like,
Because people tend to
I
think
wanna
that they're
throw
going
champagne
to.
on
People
some
tend to think
people's
that they're
bums.
going to earn 5.5 grand and start driving a Lambo.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand what 100k is. It's not. It's
well,
You watch my words.
Well,
It's, hey, for these that come in the comments.
I think most millionaires don't earn more, like they earn around that, like 100k, 120k.
So 5.5 bags a month. Yeah?
For real, most men it is.
most
Should be a lot of money.
So do
a
do
lot of their
what
money
with
is
though?
like, property
You
and stuff.
pay your rent, let's say £1,300.
Okay, as in a single man.
Yeah,
As a single man with no children.
Single,
Oh, of course,
single man,
yeah,
no
yeah.
kids,
Oh, of
1,300
course.
quid,
Oh,
council tax
it's more than enough.
127,
Oh, it's more than
whatever
enough.
band you've got,
It's more than enough.
bills. You ain't got a whip yet, so really you could be doing £1,800. Then if you add a whip on top, 5 bills.
That's more than enough.
You've got.
more
You
than
know what I'm
enough.
saying? You can even entertain women.
Yeah, it's more than enough. But the moment you want to have a family, forget it.
1 kid.
Nursery fees.
1,200 for nurseries, minimum. That's
Yeah.
1, 2. Let's start. Two bed house.
He's done the maths. It's long.
Because then when
long.
that's
Your car, her
no,
car.
That's why
Your insurance, her insurance.
That's why when your dad gets in the car and your mum's saying like you're not gonna come inside, he's thinking to himself, what else can I do?
Let me go do
'Cause
you.
It's peak.
So yeah, I think obviously you've had the conversation previously, and I do think 100k. It's mad because in people's dreams, there was once upon a time earning 30 bags. People thought this was the pinnacle of life. I'm gonna earn 35K.
But you know another
40K
thing is
salary.
you see like how our generation is different to previous, like our parents. Our parents never used to go raving. They used to go like
Hall parties and that.
whole parties and that.
But you see what?
So whole parties.
Don't let them chat
yeah,
shit,
but whole
man.
parties.
They
Remember,
party,
whole,
they party,
don't
though.
let them chat
yeah,
shit.
but whole parties.
Mumsy's Russell and Bromley shoes was heavy.
No, but I'm
you
saying
know.
whole parties is not the same amount on drinks.
Yeah, but they were still getting a young Guinness.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying it's,
No, I hear it. When
it don't
little.
cost. Yeah,
When
our,
li-
our generation is generation.
Because back in the day, a young Russell and Bromley was big B,
Yeah.
big
Yeah,
P.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like when you pre it, all them lot, they all chat shit because they got Gooch and they got all this stuff. Same thing.
They-
Like Russell
and
and Bromley was their standard.
and they're gold.
Their relationship with money is completely different, though.
Yeah.
Completely
But
different.
that's education though.
Like, I don't think it's education, more so like timing and stuff. Because at the time they grew up, for example, like I know my mum and stuff, like the world was different. Like she would tell me, oh, back in my day, houses were cheap. Houses for me are expensive. My relationship with money and the world is completely different. So my attitude and how I deal and handle with money is completely different.
So do you believe in spoiling yourself?
How so?
So I believe everyone has a vice, yeah? Now, my vice is gadgets.
Okay.
I like gadgets. So, let's say in my crib, I got an island, right? And if I press a button and something rises up and it's a little mini TV.
Oh, that floats your boat. That gets you excited. Okay.
I'm gassed for that.
Okay.
Like, my brethren could have a vice where his vice is cars. And even if it has 100,000 on the clock, as long as he's got the car, he's
Yeah.
accomplished. So I'm
Okay.
saying, like, what, for you, do you believe in you need to, if you earn enough,
Yeah.
once a month or whatever time, you should divulge and spoil
I don't know,
yourself?
man. I've kind of got to a point where I don't like anything. Like, and it's difficult to explain to people because I sound boring.
So even
but
with equipment, you don't ever see a
it's all
camera.
tax write-off. It's all just.
No, but don't you ever see something you're thinking this camera? Like,
Well, I
it
couldn't
does
give
a
a fuck.
madness.
If you put all this in a room and gave me 50 bags to burn it all down, I'd do it right now. Like that's no,
Head's
not at
gone.
all.
Head's
That's
gone.
where I'm at with like the kit and stuff because this is a job for me. Like this is it's a business. I
So
want to
don't,
build.
don't
and
you
get
ever
rid of.
see a kit that just thinks, shit, this camera does this? It just shoots at
I look
30
at it.
miles, 30 lenses per
That means
second.
nothing. I look at it and I'm like, how much money can this make me? And am I gonna buy it? Because I don't like buying stuff for no reason.
Okay.
Like it's
Okay.
very much.
Do you have a vice? Sorry, it's very much. Sorry, go on.
No. I was just gonna say it's very much business, like input output. But that's how I see the world. It's very cynical. I hate it. I hate how I see the world.
And have you become like this, or was you always like this?
I don't know. When I met Chizo, I was less like this, but I kind of grown more into it because that's just how the world is.
To
I'm
Chisel,
very.
you fucked him up.
No, not Chizo fucked me up. No, not at all. Not at all.
Pause.
No homo.
Pause.
Sorry. Do you have a vice?
Right now, I don't think none. Like before, I swear I even tweeted it the other day when someone sent that thing about Luau. And I said, before going to his house, I remember like, I'll be working, especially like 2019, I'll be working all the time. Then the moment it hits 6 p.m, if I ended up in West End, I said, right, let me go do a young tour of Selfridges real quickly. Then I might walk in there and I might see one expensive shoe and I'm like, yeah, I'm copping that.
You know that's your vice, innit?
Yeah.
You know you like designer shoes.
I like designer shoes, but hear the joke now.
You done well to discipline yourself. Bro.
You don't buy that shit.
you done-
I
actually
don't.
done- you actually done well to
But you know what
discipline
happened?
yourself after that,
It was that trip, bro. I went into my man's crib and I'm looking around and
Makes
I
you
was
feel
just
silly.
like, bro, you only got one Gucci trainers. I even messaged him about it 2 days ago. I said, you know you stopped me spending on design like how I used to. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't know what happened. I walked into your crib and my whole concept on everything that was flashy, that is me, just died in an instant. And I said, I came back home and I said to myself, I'm not buying this. And yeah, my habits just died. And designer shoes is me. So when Taser chucking in B22s and B30 in the thing,
Flagrant
I'm there
Taser,
saying,
you know.
"Rah,
Tantalizing
I can
Taser.
jump in my car right now and just burst down to Central London and grab one of this and one of that." And I'm saying to myself, it's not time. Because you know what it is?
Okay, it's not
You
time.
know, you know what it
okay,
is?
that's fine.
The reason why I say it's not time, after looking at Lou's accomplishment, remember, we're the same age. We've known each other from 15. Like, we're from the era of, bro, borrow me a skipping rope for 2 days. Borrow me this for, like, we're borrowing each other. You know what I mean? We're from that era. So, to fast forward and someone puts on the internet, sneakily rich, blah, blah, 200 million. I'm saying, no, it's not sneakily rich. It's, my man has been, like, he's been clued up from day where his mind
methodical.
Where his mind is like, raw. Like, I remember, like, 5 years ago, he said to me, Chiz, before 50, I'm going to be a billionaire. I said, I don't doubt it, because I see how you move. So he said to me, raw, when you're ready and you have 100 cash, come to me, come to Africa, and I'll show you in 1 year how to make it. So imagine before pandemic, that was the plan. So I've come back from that trip and said, I'm not going to buy nothing. I've had money saved up for the house and all of that. So when my mum was like, yeah, buy your crib, in my head I was like, I'm going to do 2 Summer Love next year. I'm going to bang all this amount of lock Sundays and work like a madman. By the end of the year, I should have enough money to do this, link Lou, move to Africa for a year, bam.
What did he say you can turn 100k into in Africa?
In a mil.
A mil?
Yeah.
In a year?
Yeah. If
There's ways.
If you bust the right moves.
There's ways.
You get me?
There's ways. Like, when I told...
Then all of a sudden, mum dies, COVID, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But you know what?
But
you know what?
It'll rise again, innit?
No, that's one thing. You see, like, if you
Oh,
know...
pause, man. Come on, man.
No, too much is happening.
No, you see
Too much
what's
is
happening?
happening. Cut that one out. Cut that one out.
Lars, if you don't...
Too much is happening.
If you know how to graft, you would
Too
always
much is
get
actually
back...
happening here.
If you know how to graft, you'd always get back to where you are. So that's why, like, now, I remember, like, obviously, first, with all of this...
Sorry to cut you. You see, you said you know how to graft, you always get it back here. Do you ever think, that you might have a setback, and a setback, and a setback, that you can get confused and doubt what your next decision, that your move could be?
Yeah, COVID period had man like that, but I don't even think it was COVID. I think it was the timing of everything, innit? Obviously, mom, COVID, boom, 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 back to back. So it had
You had a bad run.
Huh?
You had a bad run.
Yeah, I had a bad run.
How
But
do
it was
you
more
push through that?
It was more like like my whole family's gone. So that kind of rattled me, and that kind of put me into. I don't even think it put me into self-doubt. It just put me into like my thing before. The reason why I was so driven before was, you know, like when you're a little kid and you're like, I'm gonna buy my mom this, I'm gonna buy that. Then when I have a family, I'm gonna make sure my wife's got this and I'm gonna have that. And that was my drive at first. So when my mom's gone, I'm like, what am I grinding for?
Oh,
Like, so like my main
So
my main thing had gone.
the reason why I'm asking that is just because musically, when Gabriel was asking, how did you deal with?
Calm down.
So my thing was, I got to a position where I kind of knew everything, in terms of, I know if I do this, it will probably work out and do this. But then the fear of shit, like, it felt like there was too much information to actually pursue something.
You need to outwork your self-doubt, so you have like a constant stack of proof to prove that you're who you say you are.
This is why I was asking, did you ever get to a point where it's like, you've hit X, Y, Z, and it felt like, all right, there's just actually a lot of information now. Because I feel like this current generation, right? We're in a time now where we have so much info, and almost I feel like it's information overload. Because once upon a time there was kind of like a set route everyone kind of took, and now it's kind of like you can get self-help from any Instagram account. So then it's like, with that being said, do you ever get to a point where it's like, there's so much information. I don't know which one to take.
It becomes like mental masturbation at one point because you're
Is that a pause?
Is because
no, listen, look,
wow, son.
That's not a pause.
No, I just wanted to know.
Because I was gonna add context and you stop me.
We just want to know.
Because I need to know.
You stop me. It's mental masturbation in terms of like.
You said it again twice.
Let me land. Let me land.
You said it twice.
Let me land. I'll say it again a third time.
Shit.
Listen, because
wow, son. Wow.
Because what you were saying about because what you were saying about information overload, people will sit there and they watch these self-help videos and it gives them the dopamine rush and the feeling that they're doing something. They turn off the video like, yeah, sick, tomorrow it's gonna happen. And then the next day they go straight back to the same video again and they don't apply what they've learned. So that's where you're saying it's mental masturbation. Like you're pleasuring yourself with the video. There was no better way for me to describe it.
So
that's what
you know what? Because there are a lot of people who like to take in a lot of information, but they're actually afraid to apply it.
Application is what's most important because you'll probably find like, especially with what I've personally found with being like self-employed and stuff is that you learn the most by doing rather than sitting there watching the videos and doing this. Like real world experience is invaluable.
It's not the smartest people that win.
Can I just
it's the most proactive.
It's the people that do shit.
Yeah.
Can I just say also on a happy ending for everyone who was asking?
That's a pause, but go on.
The music is very well. I work. I earn very good. And the music is now a bonus.
Everyone comes on the channel to open up their market, innit?
Literally, so
literally.
No, because I think like a lot of the times, a lot of people would be like, "Aren't you making music no more?" And that's why I was talking about runs. So there's a moment where the ground is shaking and everyone knows your thing. Like when Storms may have released his first album, we all knew it was coming. Then the second one, but you know when there's a project or there's something where your fans, it's for them now. They're the ones who champion you. But there's a moment where like Central C is kind of spilling over to everyone. So if he releases something, we all know. And then there'll be a moment where you won't know because you're not your age. You won't know. It's not my age. You won't know. But you'll see, oh shit, he's number one. Because it'll pop up. And I think that is what happens when you're having your run. Do the most to just position yourself in places.
Oh, do the most. That's why you see when you were talking about the charging and all of that of events.
Like charging 30, 40, 50 pounds for tickets.
Like you see, like
you love highlight that, innit?
You see, like my man charging 50. I say to him, we would charge 80 because you're on that run right now. Because once it comes down, oh yeah, it comes down, bro.
You need to capitalize.
And the thing is, people don't understand. Before he got to that run, he was pushing 5 years hard. But people just wasn't paying attention as much as they are now. You get me? So he deserves everything he's getting. Because, like I said, the same people who would be complaining about £20 for me are not complaining for 50 for him. And the same people who are complaining for 50 for him, when they go on holiday to the next country and they walk to live on Sunday and the guy says 2 bills on the door, they're going to turn left, turn right. They're going to see other people behind them and say, "Rah."
It's because of where the attention is. Attention is what's valuable. Attention is a currency. It's what everyone fights for.
Once your brand has built to what it is, it's like them man there are. What's the Hennessy the one that had that everyone Paradis. So the Miami bunch of Paradis. Thingy is EXO, my man. And right now, I've gone back to being VSOP, but I can work back up to EXO and get to Paradis. But you know, like Lance said, you have your runs, you go up, down. But when you're there, milk it for what it is.
But you see where you're talking about the runs and like how it fluctuates and how volatile it is. That's because of where the attention is. And that's driven by human behavior. Because like for example, Summer of Love is a great product, but what you're lacking is the attention. That comes from the marketing element. Like for example, if Rihanna just randomly turned up to your event, your event's popping now, you got the attention. So now all of the attention that's on my man's event who's charging 50, 60 pounds, that's on your event now. So you'll have the demand so you can charge more.
Is Summer of Love bigger now?
No, because I'll give you an example. All right, the next one coming up in 4 months. We've done 100 tickets already. But before, let's say like
the late Stone times.
Yeah, late Stone times. If I said tickets out now, my phone right now would be brrr, yo, where you? Yeah, I'm coming to link you with a pen. And it was just
is that a placebo? Because basically the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel as though Summer of Love is a credible brand. Like I hear about it. So you see the Leighton time. I didn't know it was in Leighton. I never knew it was in Leighton. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm asking you in terms of Summer of Love back in the day, because that was like guerrilla style promo where we could put like a CD on someone's car and all that type of shit. So maybe because you're outside, it feels like, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But times have changed. People go shubs and
I'll tell you what the formula was. It all comes back to, like you said, Zoma Rockboy lifestyle, where it comes back to all of that lifestyle shit that you're talking about. All right, so I'm out and about, Central London, Selfridges run. I bump into 5 girls. Oh, yeah, I've got this dance. Da-da-da. Every time you see me, I'm buying something. So it starts attracting.
I want to be with him.
There you go.
Roll with my man.
My man's working. He rolls up, parks his car in the car park, goes, buys a couple kicks. Then all the time, I was traveling all the time. So the whole lifestyle persona was the brand. So all of a sudden now, fast forward like a few years, and I've come from being I wouldn't even say I'm flashy. That's just my thing, innit? Like I like flashy kicks. Gable likes designer shirts, t-shirts. Every man's got their thing. You get what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, I've gone from being like that all the time to becoming like, why am I spending that? Because you know what it is, yeah? In my head, I have this thing where even if I'm in a t-shirt that it's got no logos or t-shirt that's got logos, I'm still getting the same type of gear.
Where I'm landing.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what.
When I step in the room, you feel me.
That's what kind of clicked in my head. So I was like, right, I could be in a room full of celebs, but I'm still getting the utmost attention. So why am I splashing? But the splashing was what built that brand. You get what I'm saying?
So
and
it's
that
like
all comes from a talk. That all comes from a talk with Zoma, because I remember like in like 2017, Zoma said to me, he goes, bro, your raves, like I was doing Laws of Attraction, and it was 200 people, 150. It was busy jumping, but it goes, right, you know your raves could explode even more. Pause. If
That wasn't a pause. No, that wasn't.
Explode is a pause.
No, man. Come on now. I was doing it for banks. You're just taking the piss now.
Explode is a
It was
pause.
a pause for safety. It was a safety
Oh,
one. It was a safety one. It was a safety one.
Oh,
It was a safety one. It was a safety
Cutting
one.
this out of the episode, this stuff, man.
So anyway now, yeah, he's giving me this speech on the phone saying that, right, if you start showing the bits of your life you don't show. And the funny thing is, yeah, like I still do some of the things that I did then, where like I could be at random restaurants and all of this, but I don't post it. But it was just like, right, if you start doing decoration, that's the key word. Start doing decoration when you go to a nice restaurant, you show you're on holiday, because you know, like me, I never used to show, I still don't do it. I would never show me boarding a plane or queuing up to, you know what I mean? But my thing was always, I just wake up, Paris, Cancun, So showing that bit all the time, I realized even on socials, my engagement on stories was just always boom, up. So what I'll do is like, I'll use that to grow engagement, then boom, throw a flyer, boom, throw a flyer. So that was building.
That's marketing though.
Yeah,
You do
that was
something to
marketing.
get people's attention, and then
So-
you hit them with something else.
But it's powerful
You know what I
that you
mean?
can actually
Yeah.
get them to convert from watching your stories to actually like wanting to come to your
But the
event.
funny thing is like now my stories are coming back to the same thing. I don't know why, because I'm posting less, but it's getting back to the same type of engagement from back then. So
Because of the event and your pictures.
the what?
Not the event, the venue.
Yeah, probably because of the venue.
Because your personal brand is kind of becoming a thing, but people like people will walk in here and be like, "Wow, Chiz has money," because they don't understand what goes in. They don't understand what goes into the back end.
It's not even a lie, because somebody messaged me and goes, "How much the man cutting?"
Yeah, exactly,
And I was
because they want to know. But then
he's like, how much
that's
is
what
it?
makes them
How
watch the
much is
story,
hire?
and
Like,
that's
how
what
much-
makes them go
how
to
much
the
does it
event.
do? So I
That's
feel
the
like
game.
another thing,
you know what it is? It costs money to make money in it. So you go hard, you make money, then you crumble for a bit. But
Another
it's not a bad crumble. It's a necessary.
Yeah,
You see, used to, right? Just even using this place as an example, yeah. You know, it's actually like great representation. Because if I'm honest, I don't know no black brothers who own something like this. So there's a lot of people who are now asking a lot of questions, and it's like, oh, what does it generate? How much does it cost to do? Like, what can be made from it? You know what I'm saying?
And it's a shame though that something which is so common to so many other demographics. People see us do it, and it's almost like wow.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look at it like, right, this is like.
You don't think this is anything?
These time,
Yes,
Lance,
to me this is.
I'm on phone to man them with 5 venues and 10 venues.
Yeah, like
and
it's
10 hotels and
yeah.
I was even gonna ask that.
That's why when I bust the joke before and a man wrote in the comments, "What do you mean about 4x40?" I'm like, right, like you don't understand here. Like I used to work security back in the day in West End, and some of the man them that are not in my photos, that are not from our demographic, that are my brethren that phone me every week to I see a new venue. What's the next move? Blah blah blah. All of them are similar where they started as, some of them started as promoters, some of them started as bottle boys and tables and blah, blah, blah. Now I've seen them, man, from like between 2009, 2010 to 2015. One of my brethren became a club owner and a club, it used to be called, it was Amira, then it turned into Project. So Project was like a big white boy club at one point, and you would have like all the hip hop artists come in there, like The Game and all of that, and like I'd see my man Graft, where I was just like, rah, bro, you was just like literally one of the bottle boys to the bar manager to, you get what I'm saying? So you've seen all these people, so your friends should kind of inspire you to want to step up, you get what I'm saying? To step up to be what you can be or who you should be. So when you're seeing all these people now, and people saying, oh yeah, like, right, them man are doing this. Gabriel's got Sion, Gabriel's got the other place that shall not be mentioned. You get what I'm saying? then I'm on this, and they're thinking it's a big deal, but not realizing that we're surrounded by. Give you an example. Gabriel's cousin's got 1487, and he's got the spot next door to it.
You know what?
We're surrounded by this.
It's a big deal because we don't see it in our community.
Yeah.
And I think
they don't see it.
They don't see it, but
they don't
but
see it in
that's
their
the thing.
networks. They're not privy to
We're
the
surrounded
information.
by it in our network.
Yeah,
That's
but
the,
No, I get Lance's point. I get Lance's
it's
point.
in our network, but it's not in our community. So it's football, music, or road. You understand?
Yeah.
So I don't know for Caribbeans, but as an African, it was doctor or lawyer. These were the professions that our parents can brag about. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for it to now turn into a thing where people are actually business owners, and the stigma is, okay, you're telling me what? I can own a banqueting suite now?
Yeah.
But you know what it is? Partly as well. Yeah.
A banqueting suite?
A lot of times, yeah.
I thought a banqueting suite was just for them lot.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think our generation as well, yeah, sometimes, yeah. I think with us lot, yeah, it's Gabriel, you say, yeah, if you was like going down the corporate route, yeah, when we was younger, and you got offered a job that was like 150 to 200 bags,
How old am I at the time they offered me the job?
you was like 28, 29.
I'll take
like,
that. I'll take that. I'll still be
Like,
working
like
there
the
now.
post you put the other day, you put.
I'll
like,
take that job and I'll still be working there now.
like the post you put the other day about where these girls on the 30.
Man.
That's why I brought this up. Yeah, like where these girls on the 30 getting these 100 back.
Yeah,
It's not Indeed. I've been on there. I've been on. It's not Indeed.
they're
I've been on there.
Indeed.
I've
I don't know
where
been
it
on
is.
there.
It's
LinkedIn. Indeed
What's
Plus.
it? 2 weeks ago,
No, it's
flipping.
LinkedIn.
Bruv,
Indeed.
this guy was
LinkedIn.
talking about DIT, putting common memory card from one computer to the other, and you get paid.
A lot of it is LinkedIn.
And then Lance
Indeed
comes
Plus.
talking about I manage communities and I look at analytics.
A lot of it is LinkedIn.
Bruv.
But hear the joke. Yeah.
Bruv,
It's actually quite dope to me, man.
But hear the joke, Gabriel. Like if you got that job, exactly what you said, you still be there. So a lot of these things that we're doing, it's not because we just decided, boom, today I'm just gonna go get a venue and blah blah blah. It's probably because the opportunities where we didn't have, we've had to think of out of the box.
Out of the box to try and do it,
still get to the same point.
But proximity plays a part. So I remember I watched the interview and somebody said like, there's certain rhythms I don't think I could make if I was still on ends at Morley's doing X, Y, Z. So proximity of me making certain tunes and traveling and being with different groups.
music is experience.
Yeah,
though, like, innit?
different groups,
Yeah.
different people. So your network is experience. If you stayed in Peckham or you stayed in Bricky, you was in Stockwell, your experience will kind of shape you
Be
based
limited
on
to the
that.
people
You
you
understand,
know.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So realistically, that's why they say like your portfolio of friends. I say portfolio because everyone's got a different skill set. Everyone comes with different assets. Your portfolio of friends should be diverse. And when they're diverse, everyone just offers something different.
I even think like you see like before we was talking
You like
about
that, innit? I see
we was
that
talking
now.
about
I was gonna ask you a question.
I'll shoot with them. Ask.
No, that's good.
like you
Let's
see
use
like
it.
before we was talking about the group where you were saying one man could be having the worst run at the moment and one man could be having the best run. I realized another thing about the group here that's great here when you said that the man who's having the best run, some men in the group are too humble. too humble. Way too humble. And
But I like it though.
I like it.
I like the
I
humility
like it.
though.
I proper like
I
it
like it.
because the reason why I like it is because it motivates you to even want to go harder because them man are there championing you when you might be having the worst run and they're still trying to push you to the front to you know what I mean to get back to normal and like there's no pressure but at the same time there's a pressure to I want to see you win.
I like the idea that my win in my mind can be small, but the way people play it up in the group, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it's like you genuinely get the sense that man them are celebrating you.
Yeah.
And I genuinely like that because it's like, okay, cool. Like nobody gets overlooked and everyone's in different positions.
Do you know
everyone's in different
sometimes?
spaces.
As humans, that's all we need. You know.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes no. As bad as it sounds and funny it sounds,
You need a well
all
done.
we need is just
Yeah.
someone just to say well done. You know, like when you're doing something so much, just for someone to acknowledge it and say, you know what, well done, man. I see what you're doing.
The thing is, there's
People don't realise what it
there's-
does.
There's people. Okay, prime example. Yeah, you know what's mad? We might not even say we've done something, but the attentiveness of the man them, they will see it somewhere and be like, "Right, you didn't want to tell me you done this." That's hard. Like, and it's like maybe because you're shy about it, or maybe because you think it's not a big deal, or you don't want to bring it to the man them or whatever. You've just crack on. But then someone be like, they'll see it, they'll screenshot it, they'll put it in there, and they'll be like, "Yo,
Yeah.
don't do that again. You don't want to tell me you did this." And it's like, "Oh no, it's just a little." Nah, bro, that's hard. Like, so
What-
then you get confidence.
What I was gonna ask you was obviously.
Make a good one though. We're gonna end on this.
Yeah, that's
Make
fine.
a good one.
I was just gonna ask you. So at one point, you was gracious, K. You was the guy touring and everything, and now you've kind of transitioned into like working world and stuff. With the people that you met, obviously in the industry and that, like, was the job that you have now? Was it a bring in through your network, or did you apply through LinkedIn or Indeed? Like,
I created this space for myself. So basically, so I wanted to get my music on like a platform, like I'm Just Bait or one of them things, but it cost too much P. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make my own one and work with someone to create something to get me to a point where I can put my own music on there.
okay,
And then what I ended up doing was it made me fall in love with social media. So I've always liked the concept of telling stories. Telling stories is always been something I really enjoy. So what is Gabriel Sion? What is ChisoLifts? Like Marv Abbey? Like telling that story through social has been something I was passionate about. So when I started growing this account, I didn't realize how kind of good at socials I was. So I started growing this account to a point where, so I'll tell you, I was working at Link Up TV. I grew this account to a point where Link Up saw this account and they was messaging it saying, "Who's this you? Like, whatever you're doing, you're just kind of becoming a part of the culture very quickly. So is there a way you can do what you do for them, for us?" Lo and behold, I was thinking, shit, do I want to tell them it's me? How's it gonna look? Got over that. I did that. Grew Link Up TV's account from XYZ to 1 million in a short space of time. I was like the admin everyone was getting crazy over, and then created some pathways for that system. And then obviously Rashid kind of put me in positions and whatnot. And then one day, the job I do now, they was like, "Who does all of this?" So I created that pathway and it led me onto this job here. So once I merged Lance and Gracious, I realized that they're the same person and I can just freestyle off whichever one.
Okay.
So when I come here, I'm both. Because there's moments where I float in being gracious and I'm not in how we banter. I can go to a club, I'm gracious. And I like the concept that some people in the club might call me Lance.
okay.
You know what's mad, yeah? Like with everything, how you said, growing all of that. These things, especially like this channel, yeah. Shout out you, man, Gabriel, especially you, Marv, London's very own Ken, Hackney's finest, Dirk McGriff, my brethren Cool Chris, and Abe's Graham, and a couple of them meme pages
Manny.
like Live by the Rules, Manny, and Kid and Chinks. Because this channel, people are like, oh yeah, channel, blah blah blah. It could be bigger than it is, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, because the real truth about this channel, the reason why it's got to even where it's got to is because of the man them. That's the honest truth. Because the amount of times the man them have shared content, even made you think. You get me? Like, you don't know me from nowhere, but it's messaged me like times and said, "Right, you know what?
Sense.
Yeah, like I fuck with stuff you put from the fitness to the that. If you need me to put something, I said, nah, it's cool, man. Like you make money from posting stuff. I'm like, nah, you don't need to. And he's like, no, whatever you need out. You know what I mean? So people are doing things that they actually get paid for. And for free. Like I remember, like at one point, every single episode, the man then was reposting, and I had to just literally at one point I've stopped sharing it because I don't want to feel like raw. I'm enforcing myself on people. If you cut that, I didn't even post it because I just wanted it to just. So when people are saying, "Oh yeah, it should be bigger than it is," I'm like,
I was gonna get onto you because you should post it.
I know, but I just didn't want to feel. I wanted to kind of let it just.
Yeah,
for a while and just
you got to deal with that. That's internal.
Yeah.
Like the podcast is everyone's pod, and I genuinely feel like if you have a good set of people, once you win, everyone else does.
Yeah.
Like if you notice it, when the man them come Summer of Love, they kind of walk around like it's their rave. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like if someone was to ever start fighting, they stop it like it's their we're losing money. You understand? Like what are you doing? Like this man. So I feel like once you get into that rhythm, you notice that, and I just think like. For me, what's been good is realizing that Lance and Gracious cannot be separate because it's insane.
I hope you like this episode. Remember again, got the pod. Oh yeah, bank holiday, summer love. We got all white parties. Some of you lot that watch the channel were the last one. You already know the ratios. You lot that single, man, come on and entertain the ladies, man. Come on, spend some cash. Come on, do fine boy. We want to see you there. Stay tuned.